You could put it ashore there and then literally just drag it across the border. But in any case, officials tell me it's going to require airplanes and ships. The amount of firepower that the rebels need is probably just simply too much to take by helicopter alone.
Experts say Libya's seaports could be used to deliver arms to rebels. Communication equipment would have been more important 10 to 15 years ago, but today all that's required is keeping the cell networks up and running.
They need rifles, they need machine guns, they need anti-tank weapons.
Frank Anderson served 26 years in the CIA. He ran the Afghan task force and helped arm Mujahideen fighters there. So he knows what he's talking about when he says,
you can train someone to use a shoulder-fired anti-tank weapon in a matter of hours.
Now, battle tactics, that's different. Anderson says training small unit leaders could take weeks.
But my experience is that Darwin works very quickly in war.
In other words, rebels who survive a battle learn how to stay alive and can teach that to new recruits.
And that's an army that will grow in skill very, very quickly.
But is arming rebels even legal? The U.S. still has diplomatic relations with Libya's government, a government it's effectively trying to overthrow. And there's an arms embargo that applies to the entire country. But U.S. and British officials interpret the UN resolution to allow all necessary measures to protect civilians.
This would not necessarily rule out the provision of assistance to those protecting civilians in certain circumstances.
But Anderson offers this warning from his own experience of Americans arming Afghanistan's Mujahideen.
They turned out to be corrupt and rapacious, and I mean rapacious in the sense that they were literally guilty of raping citizens. And they brought on the Taliban.
Now, Anderson tells me that in 10 years of arming Afghans, there were hardly any American boots on the ground. So he says there wouldn't necessarily need to be a big CIA or coalition presence in Libya. But he says if it wants the rebels to succeed in a series of battles, not just spotty or here and there, he says the coalition has to fully commit to giving them enough firepower to beat back larger numbers.